Hello, this is, let me see the light here. This is Terry Morris from Impulse Hub web design and marketing agency. And today I'm talking to Siobhan Kehoe, who is the clinical director of the fertility treatment clinic, and also to Karen Dobbyn, who is one of Siobhan's patients, who'll be joining us in just a minute. So just to mention that if you have questions, if you can put them in the comments, and we'll try to get to your questions when we can. So I'm just going to set this down here, and so I'm going to set it down, sorry, because we have a couple of people here joining us. So this is Siobhan and also Karen. So I think what we'll do is, I just want to mention as regards Siobhan, that she is a registered midwife, a registered general nurse. She's worked in Ireland, England, and Australia. She's worked in an early pregnancy unit in a busy Dublin hospital and also in an IVF clinic. And she's been helping couples with fertility problems for almost 20 years. She's a qualified herbalist and registered practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, and she holds a diploma in obstetrics and gynecology. And she has been using the best of Western and Eastern medicines since about 2001. So I just want to say welcome to both Siobhan and to Karen. Thanks for coming here. Actually, if we might just start with Siobhan, we're talking today about recurrent miscarriages. So this is a difficult problem for many couples facing fertility issues, isn't it, Siobhan?
Yes, absolutely. I think the most overwhelming loss any couple feels, especially that the mother feels, is the loss of her own child, but the next is the loss of a child carried within her own womb, you know. So if I can help, my aim today is to give hope to couples out there, and you know, and my aim is to help to carry a healthy baby to term. That's what I'm about. So I welcome questions, and I'm happy to talk about how I treat people, and with the herbs and the acupuncture, and you know, to give ideas of how I treat it, and if I can give people hope to carry a healthy baby to term.
Okay.
Thanks, Terry.
Okay, Siobhan. Okay, can you tell me how common is this problem, and also how is the problem normally viewed in terms of Western modern medicine?
Well, miscarriage, the statistic is approximately 15% of all pregnancies end in miscarriage. Recurrent miscarriage is statistics show between 2 and 5% of all pregnancies will end in recurrent miscarriage. In Western medicine, maybe if I talk about both Western and Chinese medicine, about the causes. The main cause is chromosomal. It does depend as well on the maternal age, but it can vary between 20 and 50% of all miscarriages, 50% more for the woman closer to 40 or in her early 40s. From a Chinese medicine point of view, chromosomal is linked more to the kidney essence, to the quality of the embryo, and which is to do with the mother and the father and their essence, and getting the embryo of good quality. And maybe if I go through the different causes.
Okay,
yeah?
sure.
Another common cause, statistics show it's between 20 to 25% of all miscarriages, is blood coagulation and blood clotting factor. This can be linked with endometriosis, clots, fibroids, or the woman just having clots in her period. This is actually very common that I see, that there's no blood clotting factor, but the woman just has a clotty period. This will impede on implantation, and it's putting an embryo into an environment where the lining of the uterus is clotty, and sometimes it's hard for the oxygenated blood to get through to nourish that developing embryo. To me, it's like planting a seed in the ground, but the ground is mucky and marshy, and it doesn't give the seed the best chance to develop in that environment.
Okay.
So it's about getting the environment right. And from a Western medicine point of view, this, you know, can be treated with blood thinners and aspirin, heparin, Clexine. From my point of view, I believe it's not as good to thin the blood, but to invigorate the blood to, and try and get a good blood supply of nutrients to the developing embryo. Another common cause is an abnormal immune system. This is becoming much more recognised now in recent years, where the mother's system recognise the fetal cells as what's called interlopers, that as a foreign body, and the mother's system attacks that. From a Western medicine point of view, this is treated with steroids, and there are many common side effects with steroids to the embryo and to the mother, which there's been a lot of research done on recently. With this course that I did in diploma course in Obs and Gynae, we touched on this quite a lot actually, and medicinal mushrooms now, they've done a lot of research with this, and for natural killer cells, for instance, statistic success rate with medicinal mushrooms is 92%, whereas with steroids, the research shows between 16 to 65%, unfortunately, with side effects for both the baby and the mother. So it's an area I have an interest in. And in Chinese medicine, this is to do with the spleen deficiency, and also it's important to get the gut right and to calm down the basic immune system. Another cause is low progesterone levels, and sometimes progesterone is given to women to prevent miscarriage, but progesterone will only help if the woman has low progesterone. So sometimes it's just given, anyway, but it will only help. It's the woman that comes in and says, "If I have no breast tenderness, I feel the very same, I have a slight dragging feeling," that's typically the woman that has low progesterone. Progesterone is a warming drug to the body, and it's important to keep the temperature of the uterus at the right temperature. So if the woman is given progesterone and she already has night sweats or is overheating and has a lot of breast tenderness anyway, if that woman is given progesterone, you can actually overheat the uterus and it can cause a hormonal imbalance, and that wouldn't be a good environment for the baby to be in. But if the woman has low progesterone, yes, progesterone can be a very good supplement.
I'm just wondering, because we have gone through quite a bit, and it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
So what I'm just thinking, maybe we should move on just a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And just to say that I think that obviously there's a number of causes that could be treated or could be causing the recurrent miscarriage, and Siobhan has loads of things that she can actually look into and help you with. So maybe just to talk to Karen here for a minute. So Karen, how did you actually come to see Siobhan?
Yeah, well, at the time I had 5 miscarriages. 4 of them were recurrent miscarriages. So at the time, on the last miscarriage, myself and my husband were actually giving up at the time because physically and emotionally we felt that we couldn't keep trying. So it was actually a friend of mine had actually recommended me to Siobhan because a friend of hers had recurrent miscarriages and she now has 3 very healthy kids. So I came to Siobhan, and Siobhan was very positive, very confident, and felt that she could help me, which actually put confidence in me to actually go and try again. So I came to Siobhan in August, and for 4 months I took her advice. I took herbs. With my diet, I gave up wheat, dairy and sugar, and Siobhan actually did acupuncture with me as well. So physically and emotionally I actually did start to feel a lot better, and 4 months later then, luckily, I actually fell pregnant, and I'm currently almost 17 weeks pregnant and feeling great. So even prior to getting pregnant, I already had felt a lot better than I previously did. And this pregnancy actually felt a lot different from the start as well. I didn't have that dragging feeling. I didn't have any pain, which I would have had from the start with the other pregnancies. So from the start it all was much better. At the time I'd actually gone to the hospital as well, and they had done tests on me because of the recurrent miscarriages. So both myself and my husband had numerous blood tests done, tested for chromosome problems. I had numerous ultrasounds, and the end result of everything was that all the miscarriages were unexplained, so there was nothing medically wrong. So therefore we were very happy to have found Siobhan, who, we didn't know what road to go after that. So Siobhan worked her magic on us, and so here I am today. Yes,
So Siobhan, just ask you. So when Karen came in, so what are the things that you would have said, or you would have done with Karen to assess her case,
well,
to help her?
Number one, I don't believe in unexplained fertility or unexplained miscarriages. There's always a reason why. And so with Karen, I felt from a Chinese medicine point of view, she was a little bit spleen deficient, and the spleen is to do with how we make blood in the body. So I gave Karen herbs to invigorate the blood supply, to get a bright red blood supply in her system, and the spleen is to do with holding things up in place. So Karen, with the other pregnancies, used to have a dragging and bearing down feeling in her uterus from as soon as she got pregnant. So I used points and herbs to tonify the spleen. So when Karen got pregnant this time, she didn't have that bearing down feeling, and she felt stronger and healthier, from the start. And as Karen said, a lot of the work was done preconceptually. I would have advised Karen to wait minimum 3-4 months before trying to conceive, so that her body could be nourished before conception happened. And that's maybe something I need to talk about in more detail. But Karen, in fairness to her, adhered to it all, and thankfully, she's almost 17 weeks pregnant now, and all is going great. And there was never any spotting or cramping or anything, I think, at all during the pregnancy, so which is great. Yeah. So I would have felt confident, for Karen from the start, because the problem was addressed. It's all about finding out what the problem is and addressing that particular problem.
Okay.
Karen, if you don't mind me saying, had taken aspirin as well to try and prevent miscarriage in a previous pregnancy, but that didn't make a difference. And so I would recognise the specific problem, and we tried to address that, and thankfully all worked out well. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful to Karen for coming here today and sharing her story, because I know it will give other women and other couples hope out there. Yeah, so it's very big of Karen to be here today. Thanks,
And Karen, can you say as well, what was your view of sort of traditional Chinese medicine, like the thoughts of using herbs and acupuncture for treatment like this? Had you used something like that before? How did you view that?
Not really, but Siobhan was so confident and positive about it that I became positive and confident, so I completely put my trust in Siobhan, and I felt, that she knew what she was talking about. She has a brilliant background, and so I just trusted everything she said, so I would have tried anything she had asked me to do at the time, so yeah.
Okay, and Siobhan, you have often said, like when we've had chats and even on the Facebook Live, that a lot of the traditional Chinese medicine is focused on the preconceptual care, as you have mentioned before. But what happens if someone has already become pregnant and maybe has had a problem with miscarriages or is concerned about one?
Well, yes, I do believe that the biggest work is done preconceptually, getting everything right before conception happens for both the man and the woman. And but yes, if someone comes in and they're spotting or cramping or something, I would certainly try and use herbs to help prevent that. And a lot of the time, it can be very, very successful. So if there's someone out there that is threatened miscarriage, and if they haven't started really cramping or passing clots, hopefully I will be able to help them.
Okay, and I think it's also important to mention as well that that Siobhan does do medical tests if it's required, because she combines both the best of Western and Eastern medicine. So are there tests or anything that you do as regards, I suppose, the scans or things like that?
Yeah, the scan. And I used to work in a busy early pregnancy unit in a Dublin hospital many years ago, and I got a lot of experience from there. And tests such as the beta-HCG, which is the pregnancy hormone, it's a blood test, can be done, and that can be done again after 48 hours, and that should rise by 66%. You can get progesterone levels checked, and we can do organised scans, so I would be in contact with the early pregnancy unit about different tests, and with the medical profession about different tests that can help also. Yeah.
Okay, great. And also, Siobhan, maybe just also talk about the results that you have had with using TCM for recurrent miscarriage as well.
Well, I have seen many couples that unfortunately have had miscarriages. Just from my own research, in the last recent years, maybe approximately 2.5, 3 years, there's 7, I think 8 couples, including Karen, that have had between 4 and 6 miscarriages. 3 of those couples, unfortunately, had 6 miscarriages, and all of them have carried a healthy baby to term.
Oh, that's excellent.
And so my aim is and there's many couples I've seen with 1, 2 and 3 miscarriages, and it is very successful. And so yeah, that's it. So hopefully, and my aim is to carry the healthy baby to term. Sometimes in Western medicine, it's now you're pregnant, and it's seen as positive, which it is. And but in Chinese medicine, the first trimester, the first 12 weeks, especially 8 weeks, are very important to make sure the embryo is in a stable environment, and that the endometrium, the lining of the womb, is stable, and that the baby, the embryo, the fetus, is getting the right nutrients to nourish it. So the first trimester is very important in Chinese medicine to have that addressed in an early stage. So often if a woman rings me to say that she's pregnant, I will advise her to come in to try and ensure that the embryo is developing in a really well-nourished environment.
Okay, that's great. So Karen, what would you say to people if they're going through this? Because you've gone through this now already. So there'd be people out there who might be in the same kind of situation that you were in. So what would you, they may not know about traditional Chinese medicine, they may be having apprehensions as well. What would you say to them?
I would say don't give up hope, first of all, anyway, because there is always hope at the end of the day, so it is very frustrating, it's very emotional and physically draining when you have to go through recurrent miscarriages, but I would say, what Siobhan does, it works, it definitely works, and the herbs, they can only make you feel better, they're not going to do you any harm, and they actually do help to build up your body and make it a better environment to have a baby. And yeah, I definitely 100% believe in it anyway, and it has worked for me, so I'm very grateful for that.
And fair play to you for waiting as well. She was saying, not to try to get pregnant for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Because that is important.
It is important, because physically I felt a lot better and I felt ready to try again, and I felt like I had more energy. And definitely from day one of the pregnancy felt a lot better too, so that's proof that my body was more prepared for it.
Yeah, and I think as well, I know, and I hear Siobhan say this a lot as well, is that the best gift that you can give your child, your baby, is really a healthy constitution. And that's sort of the preconceptual care, which Siobhan always talks about, which is brilliant.
Maybe just emphasize that again for anyone listening to this for the first time. In Chinese medicine, they say the best gift we can give to our future kids is their constitution, their mental and physical strength, and that's determined by both parents' health, especially the 3 to 4 months before conception happens, for both the health of the child and to prevent miscarriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just see if we have any questions here. Let me see. Does anybody have questions for either Siobhan or Karen? If you have questions, if you want to post them in the comments, and we'll see if we can get those answered. So if anybody has questions there, so let me see. Is there anything else you want to add? I kind of cut you off a bit earlier about some of the causes. If you want to talk about some of those again,
I'll talk about. But I just go on from where I was. Maybe
sure.
Causes. That's fine. Another cause if there's an infection. So say for instance if a woman got a urinary tract infection or a chest infection or any type of infection during pregnancy, it's not really the infection per se that's as dangerous during the pregnancy, it's the overheating of the body associated with that with that infection. So it's important to keep the temperature of the uterus at the right temperature. So if a woman gets a kidney infection, her whole body can overheat, and that can overheat the uterus. So it's like, I don't mean to sound cool, but it's like turning the incubator up a bit on the baby. So it's important to keep that temperature down. So infection is a cause of miscarriage.
Wow.
And as I say, it's even if the woman is overheating or has night sweats, it's important to keep that temperature down. Another factor is environmental, smoking, alcohol, stress. In Western medicine, they kind of say, if it's going to happen, it's just nature taking its course. But in Chinese medicine, they do link that there's other aspects to it. So smoking is obviously cutting down on the blood supply and the oxygen to the baby. The alcohol and stress can definitely have an impact on the blood supply to the baby also. Hormonal, which I've dealt with a little bit with progesterone. Thyroid is also another factor. Actually, some research shows that 10% of all miscarriages in the first trimester can be linked with thyroid problems. So if the woman has a thyroid problem, I do advise her to go back to her GP or endocrinologist and make sure the thyroid levels are at their optimum level. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, diabetes, all that needs to be looked on, especially in the first trimester. Another aspect which I see, quite relatively commonly is a scanty uterine lining. So if the woman has, not much blood in her period, if it's a scanty period, years ago it's like the doctor looking in your eye and not seeing much blood. It's the same with the scanty period. A woman's period should be a 3-day period and a good flow for the 3 days. So if the woman doesn't have enough blood in her period, there mightn't be enough blood in the uterus to carry a healthy baby to term, So just on that note as well, sometimes women might fall pregnant, like if there's an artificial bleed, for instance, after a laparoscopy, or sometimes if a synthetic drug is used, it can induce an artificial bleed, make the period artificially heavier. But sometimes this won't sustain to bring the baby to term. So it's about again, trying to get the period so the body will produce enough blood naturally with the period, and then if the body is doing it naturally, then the body should absolutely be able to sustain that. And so for me, it's about, thinking about using certain meds, but with the herbs. So maybe progesterone with herbs or aspirin with herbs, but I'd be more into the herbs, to be honest, on their own, but they can be used with some medicines also, to try and get the environment good for the baby.
Okay. And Siobhan, you always recommend seeing both partners. Did Siobhan see your partner as well, or?
No, well, we had the
case.
test done and everything showed up okay. So because I was feeling the dragon feeling each time, that we felt that we just need to make everything stronger.
Okay.
And to build it back up again, which definitely did happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you do recommend seeing both partners.
Yeah. Karen was different because she definitely had all the physical symptoms there that needed to be
addressed.
Sure. And but from a chromosomal point of view, I do recommend seeing both partners because each partner is 50% of this potential embryo, and especially if the woman's side is a little bit weak, or if she's a little bit older, especially over 35, and that if her side's a little bit weak, she's 50% of the embryo, but out of 50% her score mightn't be very high. So if the husband was just average, it mightn't be enough to form the good embryo. So so often to prevent miscarriage, I like to see the husband or partner also. Okay. So it's very easy to boost the body to make sperm. So if his side, 50% side is boosted, it can compensate if the woman's side is a little bit weak to help form that embryo and form, a good constitutional embryo.
Okay, very good. Let's just see if we have any questions here. We have a question here from Patricia. Just wondering if there are many male factor causes that should be looked into, Siobhan. Any other male factor causes?
A common factor is DNA fragmentation. It's the DNA of the sperm, and research is now showing, that's a good question, Patricia, thanks, that high DNA fragmentation is linked with early miscarriage. And also, actually, there's 3 cases I saw recently. One of them had 6 miscarriages and 2 of them had 4 miscarriages. And when the man was checked, their morphology, the shape of the sperm, only came back at 1% normal shape. Whereas, unfortunately, they had never been asked to be checked. The male factor had never asked to be checked, but I did recommend, because I felt that there was a factor with the male factor. So when these men were checked, the morphology, the shape of the sperm only came back at 1% normal. So there are common factors yet. The morphology and DNA fragmentation would be 2 common aspects. Thanks, Patricia, for that.
Okay. So is there any other questions there? Sorry, I'll just have a look here. Yeah. So okay. So I think we've actually covered a lot. Yeah. So what I would like to say is that if anybody has questions, do get in touch with Siobhan, and she can discuss your specific situation with you. If you want more information on some of the work that Siobhan does at the Fertility Treatment Center, or even some of the testimonials for recurrent miscarriage, or even there's other testimonials there as well for other conditions, you can go to the website, which is www.fertilitytreatment.ie, and there's a lot of information there. I know Siobhan has spent a lifetime really trying to help, and she has such a passion for trying to help people, couples conceive healthy babies. If you do have, if you're in that situation, it can be very difficult, and I know that Siobhan is only too happy to be able to have the opportunity to be able to help you. So, if there's anything else, is there anything else you want to add, or?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I just want to say thank you to Karen and Siobhan, and it's really nice to have them both of them here, and to hear their stories, and I'm so delighted for Karen, how things have worked out for her at the moment, and also for Siobhan, because she really does try to help so many couples. I just again just say get in touch, because there is help available. And if you want some more information, do check out the website or give us a buzz. Okay, thank you so much. I'll just say goodbye.
Terry.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.